fast-moving show today.
Excellent. Well, let's get to Shawn.
You bet. Here we go. Okay, we are delighted to be joined by Shawn Cross. Shawn is running for the Georgia GOP National Committee woman. Shawn, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and the delegates and give my perspective on all this.
That's great. Well, thank you. So, these kinds of decisions don't get made lightly, I know. And so maybe if you could take a few minutes and just share with us your thought process in deciding to run for the National Committee woman position.
Okay. Well, since becoming involved heavily since the 2020 election in election security and the revelation of the truth and data and everything involved in that, last year with a more intense focus on the grassroots initiatives that I've been involved with and observing, I just felt in accordance with Trump's call to clean out the RNC from the top down that this was a prime opportunity for me to involve myself further and accomplish what has not yet been accomplished. And right now, after all of this work and all of this intense effort, along with the grassroots, I just feel like I would like a better result than what we have at the moment. And I want to involve myself in order to accomplish that.
That's great. You mentioned grassroots several times, and it seems from what we can say that the grassroots folks all across Georgia now are very involved, very verbal about their beliefs, their wishes, and
Yes.
we seem to be able to get people to notice. I mean, you could see that during the recent legislative session here in Georgia, and you can see it at the events that are hosted. So.
Yes.
It sounds like you're focused right on the grassroots, the real grassroots, we'll say too. Yeah.
Exactly. And everybody's working very, very hard, and we want to accomplish everything that is on the agenda. And therefore, where we are needs to further advance.
Yeah. So it also strikes me that folks in Georgia have, especially recently, since the changes that Trump has made, or Trump's team has made, I should say, in the RNC at the national level. Folks are saying, gosh, where have these guys been? I mean, where's Rona and the rest been when we needed help and resources and attention and so forth?
Exactly. And Rona is gone, and it's time that we change up representation in Georgia and give a stronger voice, a new voice to the grassroots. They are spending a lot of money, and we don't really feel the generosity here in Georgia. And I think it's time that we benefit from that.
I found it interesting that they said they would deploy, I think they said 100,000 different poll watchers and things all across the country, and
Yes.
that's an admirable objective, I believe. But kind of goes back to what we just said, which is, gosh, where have they been the last 3 years?
Where have they been? That's right. I know. I agree with you.
Have you put together sort of thinking about perhaps the priorities that you'd like to accomplish when you get elected to this role?
Yes. The first thing being that I just want there to be full-on support of Trump, everything that his agenda, his initiatives, anything he needs, I want to be there as steadfast support. I know the grassroots love Trump. I love Trump, and I want to deliver for him. It's not right how he has been treated, through not enough defense, not enough support. And basically, I just want to be able to give my voice and represent the grassroots when it comes to resolutions that may be being discussed and voting in accordance with budgets and making sure that we cut out wasteful spending and we put, the money into what Georgia deserves in terms of defense of its electors and advancement of its initiatives to secure our elections in Georgia. We are doing a lot of work, constant work, and there's a lot of activity that is not answered with the results that we want, and that needs to change. So that is my position on that.
That's neat. So in order to have folks make their selections and vote, in other words, for you and as a candidate, what is the
Mhm.
process? Take us through what's going to happen in the coming weeks and how people can best support your initiatives.
Well, I appreciate that. The best way to support us or to support me and our initiatives is to come down and join us at the Columbus Convention on May 17th and 18th. And that will be the opportunity where you have a choice to make your voice heard in the selection of the representation that you want. You know, I'm taking the high road here and basically saying that I know what I offer. I know what I want. I hear the grassroots. I'm a part of the grassroots, an active part of the grassroots. And the establishment players that we have been graced with thus far has not delivered, in my opinion, up to expectation. I hear this all the time from other members in the grassroots community. And I think that we need a stronger, firmer, representative voice on a national level, and that is me. I understand it, and I'm not afraid to speak my mind and to stand strong. And I don't have other agendas that are driving my service. What is going on here is wrong, and we need to right the ship. And we need to write it with new blood and new ideas and new communication style.
That sounds neat. The convention has a number of moving parts in it, and
Right,
the I guess one of the things that I hear from folks is they need to understand how we are represented, how Georgia is represented through the team that actually is selected, the national committee woman, the national committee men,
right,
and there's a third member, the chairman of the GOP. Is that correct?
correct,
And
correct.
and so folks remember that. Gosh, I guess it was 2 years ago now that there was a national vote, and currently those three people were drawn into an election to, I guess, re-up Rona. And now that Rona's
Right,
moved on, there really is this feeling of freshness, of refreshing, I guess is a better way to put
right.
it.
Refreshing and renewal and clearing out, clearing out.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I guess 2024 is one of those years when it feels like that's maybe a good dynamic for lots of things, and this is one of
I
them.
agree.
Yeah. So as we look forward, when will the state convention be coming up? And you mentioned, I think, a moment ago, it's in Columbus. Yes.
It's in Columbus, Georgia, and it's coming up on May 17th and May 18th.
Hmm.
So that's where the vote will take place, and we are looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
The I remember hearing over the last few weeks, people were, wondering what was going to happen at the convention because it is different than in past years where we had to vote
Yes.
in the entire, executive committee. Um,
Yes, yes, I agree. It is confusing, and I think a lot of people were kind of unaware of exactly what the agenda was, what we were doing. There's just an observation from my perspective in terms of becoming acquainted and engaged in the Georgia GOP and the grassroots, and going to the different conventions, the county convention, the district convention, trying to get an understanding and a strong uh, foothold in the information flow has been equally challenging. I don't feel, in my opinion, that we have a strong flow of information and specifics to not only the grassroots, but anybody that's stepping up to be a delegate and stepping up to do their part. And that I think is an area of an improvement that really needs to be focused on so that people are aware of what is transpiring on these meetings, uh, what is going to be accomplished when resolutions are going to be voted on. That resolution information needs to be brought forth so it can be reviewed and understood. People are somewhat groping in the dark, and we have a wonderful new presence. I think, if I recall correctly, about 70% of the individuals that attended the convention last year and voted in the slate were new. new to the process, new to the situation, grassroots people that are just frustrated, fed up with the current status quo, and wanted to get engaged and wanted to make a difference. And I think we need to expand upon that, and we need to magnify their power and understanding. And power really does result from having a true understanding of what it is that needs to be accomplished and how we're going to do it and what needs to be done. So
I think that sounds right on. The one of the things that I'd heard several times this past year is folks in the Republican Party relating that they didn't have enough advance notice of certain things. It could be anything from the county level to district to, and that
right.
and the parts of the organization that were best at communicating early enough so people could understand what they might wish and needs focused on and the most successful. So what I'm hearing is that the folks that have been now largely identified as state delegates across Georgia need now to go to the state convention, even if they were questioning before. Now there's a solid reason for them to go, and that is to
Correct.
help make selection of the
Yeah.
national committeeman and committee
Yes.
woman. Yeah,
Yes. Very much so. Very
and
important.
so there's still time to do that. They probably will want to both make arrangements to take care of their fees to attend, but also staying arrangements if they're going to choose to go
Accommodations.
both.
Yes.
Yep,
Hmm.
nearby Columbus. And so doing, then they can be part of this process. And so that
Yes.
70%, or maybe it's more now. We don't know.
It very well could be. It
Yeah.
very well could be. I just remember last year that's about what my understanding was. We had a lot of new blood, and it was exceptional. I think it was one of the highest attended conventions in history, if I recall hearing correctly.
Yep. And
Yeah.
it was exciting not just for the attendance of President Trump, which was of course exciting, but
It was.
also because you get this sense of, wow, there's people that are now on the executive committee that have not been there before, never been
Yes.
there before in some cases. And again,
Yeah.
this sort of feeling of, gosh, we're getting a refresher. So all goodness.
All
Um,
good things.
so folks are, for the folks that are just hearing you for the first time,
Hmm.
um, they probably would like to learn a little bit more. Do you have ways that they can learn more about your plans and
Yes.
priorities and so forth?
I do have a website called shawn4ga.com where you can visit, learn a little bit more about me and my perspectives, and also drop me a line and give me your feedback. What's important to you? What you want to, what you want to send up the chain, because it's important that we all share and communicate, and not just one thing that I would like to say is not just to say that you are representing the grassroots, but I've been in the grassroots for the last year, and I know that they have a lot to say, and there's a lot that they want to share. And I have not necessarily been reached out to as part of that group to ask me my opinion from some of the current representation. So, you know. I think it's important not just to say that you're a voice for the grassroots, but to actually sit down with them, feel their pulse of the messaging. What do they want to accomplish? How do they want to accomplish it? Because I think that it's not just talking the talk. You have to walk the walk, and that means getting in with the grassroots, participating in their activities, and having conversations with the key players that are organizing these events and conducting all of these different presence, whether they're at the SCB meetings or paper ballot demonstrations or whatever the case may be, but actually connecting and speaking for them.
Yeah. You mentioned Shawn for Georgia. Is that FOR or the number 4?
It's FOR, so it's
FOR.
ShawnForga.com.
Okay, that's great. Do you have plans or upcoming events that you expect to be attending in the coming weeks, or are those just now forming?
Right now, those are just now forming. We got the website active, we got the email connected, so we're kind of plotting our my visits or exposures. I just don't have that information yet, but as it is updated, it will be put forth on the website, so you can check in there.
That's wonderful. Anything else you want to make sure people hear today?
I think that that pretty well covers it. I appreciate the time. I think that we really need to drive home the point that one of my strengths in particular in this particular situation, I think that a great superpower is that I have not held political office. I have not been in that world. I have been fighting for what's you know agendas and initiatives that need to fix big problems in this state. And one of what I view as a superpower is that I have not been on the side of the establishment, and I don't have a political agenda that I'm trying to do. And I think that that freshness and that aspect of getting in with the fight and then taking that fight to the next level is critical and important. We've seen what the establishment has accomplished. It's not very impressive to me. I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of feedback in agreement that people are happy. And I think monumental change is needed, and monumental change is needed right now. And I feel like I am the right person for that change. And I want to be the voice of the grassroots. And I want to speak loudly and firmly, and I want to achieve. And I think that with their support and their vote and my voice, we can achieve the change that we have been denied thus far.
That's great. All
So
right,
that's
we
what I'd
will.
like to drive home.
Okay, we will look forward to updates as the campaign progresses, and look forward to
Wonderful.
having you back soon. And so, thank you
Sounds
for
great.
joining us today.
Okay, thank you so much.